Hi guys, you are going to open up to the next page in your ratio and rates packet, which is titled Ratio Tables. So you'll see there is a word problem, there's a double number line, and there's also a table that we're going to be filling out. So this is going to be one extra step that we're going to be working on. But what you will see is you will see that the highest value in our table is filled out. And double number lines are used to find our unit rates. So here's what we're going to do. You're given your double number line. Let's do our 4 notches, the word per, and then our 2 labels. So the first one says Carlos bikes 24 miles in 4 hours. If he is biking at a constant rate, fill in the ratio table below. So we're trying to find how far he is traveling in 1 hour. So we have hours and miles, and I'm going to abbreviate miles to MI period. And we're going to fill in our 1 for our hour because it's telling us what we're finding 1 of, which means our question mark is going to go here. Now we're going to use this rate over here for 4 hours, 24 miles as our top numbers. And we're going to find what our unit rate is. So we're ideally just finding this first box on the left here that matches up with 1. Okay, so now this side has 2 values, so I'm going to divide by 4. Divide by 4, and 24 divided by 4 gives me 6. So my number 6 is going to go in here. Okay. Now, you're going to be then filling in these 2 boxes here. So you know in 1 hour, he goes 6 miles. 2 hours, how far is he going to go? 3 hours, how far is he going to go? Okay. This is kind of an easier problem to figure out. 2 miles, he's going to go this, because look at this. Actually, if it's not easy for you, as some problems may not be, here's what we can do. Look at this. If you were to look at this table and flip it this way, granted your numbers are sideways, you have a double number line here. You're just using these guys here. Okay, so now let's find our missing piece from 2 to 1. Okay, now 2 to 1, our missing piece is divided by 2. Okay, wait a second, I went the wrong way on this side. Here's what we can do. So now if I divide it by 2 on this side, but I know I have to go from here to here on this side, I'm going to do the same missing piece, but I'm just going to multiply by 2 on this side. Okay, so 6 times 2 is 12. So my number that goes in here is 12. Okay, so if you know your multiples of 6 very well, you can probably figure out what this number is. You can also find your missing piece between this and this, or the top and the bottom. Missing piece between 1 and 6 is multiply by 6. So you would multiply by 6 here, multiply by 6 here, multiply by 6 here. Okay, it's kind of cool that you can solve this multiple ways without actually knowing, or if you don't know the multiples of 6 offhand. Well, if you were to multiply 3 times 6, you would get 18 here. Okay, now we have solved our first problem. You are going to be working on filling out the ratio tables that are remaining on the sheet. So you have to find, or you have to use your double number line to find your first one, your unit rate, in order to go up. I'm going to do this next one with you because you'll notice that we go from 1 to 2 to 7. Okay, so that's not necessarily going to be an easy transition. So let's find our unit rate. So we have Tina traveled 497 miles. Put that on my double number line. On 14 gallons of gas. So gallons is our other label, miles per gallon. Fill in the ratio table below to figure out how many miles she traveled on other gallon amounts. So gallons and miles are over here. We have them matching up in our double number line. So now our bigger rate that we're given is 497 and 14. So let's do, well, we're trying to find 1 gallon. So that's our unit rate. How many miles per gallon is what we're trying to find. We have 14 gallons and 497 miles. Okay, now we're going to find our missing piece. Missing piece between 14 and 1, divide by 14. What I do on one side, I have to do on the other. Divide by 14. You can use your calculator. When you do, you get 497 divided by 14, 35.5. So that would be 35.5 right here. All right, so now you're trying to find out too, how many miles they can travel in 2 gallons, and now 7. But now once you know your unit rate, you can figure out any number or any number of gallons that could be thrown at you. So I know that from going from 1 to 2, I'm multiplying by 2. So multiply by 2 on this side, 35.5 plus or times 2 would be 71. So my 71 is going to go there. Okay, but now you're thinking, this is not an easy missing piece going from 2 to 7. That doesn't go in very well. There are actually a couple different ways we can solve this. Here's what I want you to do first. You're going to cover up this number here, and you're going to use your unit rate and this piece here as your missing piece. So now, find your missing piece between 1 and 7. When I go from 1 to 7, it's kind of like an upside down double number line. Going from 1 to 7, I have to multiply by 7. What I do on top, I have to do on the bottom. So now I'm going to multiply by 7. And 35.5 times 7, if you get out your calculator, 35.5 times 7 gives you 248.5. So let's do 248.5. Okay, so that is one way you could fill that out. If you noticed, another way that you could have done is you went, wait a second, okay, so I know my 1 value, I know my 2 value, and I know my 14 value. And I know that 14 is double the amount of 7. So that means 497 is double the amount of miles that they can travel for 7 gallons of gas. So you could have gone backwards with it this way too. You could have gone missing piece, divide by 2, missing piece, divide by 2. Okay, that's why ratio tables are so cool, because there are multiple ways to figure out our answer. If we were to divide 497 by 2, we would get the same exact answer here. Okay, now you have one more problem on this side, and then you also have 2 problems on the back with a chance to create your own on the very bottom of the back. What I would do is I'm going to give you a few tips. You're going to be careful. Here, you have your third value filled out, and you have to fill out 1, 2, and 20. So find your unit rate, your 1 here, okay, on your double number line, solve for it, show me what you get for your unit rate, fill it in. Now, just like I showed you up here, there's multiple ways that you can go about finding your missing values on the ratio table. We could have multiplied by 7, but we also found out we could have divided by 2, okay? We could have also multiplied this if we were missing any of these numbers here. There's a connection between 2 and 14. We could have used that connection somehow too. There's many ways to go about it. Find your unit rate, and then go about finding your other values here. But please show your work for the unit rate on the double number line just while we're getting more comfortable with this. Okay, on the back side, you have your second value given to you, and you're trying to find your unit rate, and then your third and your fourth value. Now here, you are given your third value. You have to find the unit rate, find 3, and then you get to pick a new number to fill in here to find for your next one. What I would do is try to find one that has a connection either to 3 and 9, least common multiple of that, 3 and 9, or it doesn't matter actually what number you choose here, because you have the unit rate. So you would just find your missing piece between 1 and the number you choose for your lawns, and then find that here. Okay, creating your own. A lot of common ones that you may think of or may have seen have to deal with food. Maybe think about food and how that could be related to a rate. Another popular one is traveling. So think about that as you're creating your own. Feel free to get silly with it if you want. Just make sure it's school appropriate. Fill in your labels. Fill in your unit rate. So this one has to be 1. Okay, but you can figure out what you do for the rest of them here. Okay, don't forget to tell me what's going on in the problem also, just like they do in these parts here. Okay, let me know if you have any questions.